Welcome to the UK Fantasy Football Show, Goal's weekly podcast that discusses many a football fan's favourite pastime. We'll be analysing Gameweek 26's results, reopening the debate into VAR, and revealing our teams for Gameweek 27. No Sam this week, he's sunning himself in Southend. But joining me and Dave for this show is Goal multimedia wizard, Mohnish Patel. Hi Mohnish.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Mo is actually our regular producer for this podcast, so he's usually behind the scenes watching us chat away, chat nonsense. But he's stepping up for this episode once more on his final day of his goal career. We're very sad to see him go.
Gosh, you had to mention that, didn't you?
He's going out with a bang.
You're going to make me cry.
But it's a bit like the bang. I'm going to segue nicely. A bit like the bang that your beloved Arsenal did on Newcastle this weekend.
Yeah.
Tore us apart.
It was the only game of football I watched this weekend.
Nice.
All of my favourite players scored. And including Pepe. I hope you're listening, Sam. And I hope you managed to watch the Arsenal game because Pepe not only scored, but was one of Arsenal's best players.
Yeah. Got an assist as well, at least one assist, didn't he?
He did, yeah. A couple of successful take-ons as well.
Wow.
Which you love to see. It's what you pay to see, I guess.
Maybe he's turned the corner finally and Sam can zip it.
Yeah, well, it's 4 goals now, so I guess you can't really argue with that from a new player.
No. Well, I mean, he's still got a long way to go to live up to that price tag,
Did any of you two manage to watch the game? Well, did you?
I avoided it because I knew we'd get smashed. Whenever we play in London, there's like a fluke 1 in 10 fixture where we don't lose. But whenever we play in London, we're terrible. So I thought, why submit myself to this on a nice Sunday?
But I thought the score, it wasn't a true reflection of the full game because the first half, you managed to keep us quiet. You even had a good few opportunities, actually.
Yeah.
So it could have been very different.
Often when we go behind, we just start leaking goals. I think we did something similar with Leicester as well. And we're just a very leaky team. Dubravka's having an absolute mare this season. Like, he was really good for us in previous seasons, and he's gone off the boil a bit. So, I mean, the only good thing really to come from that game was the post-match press conference where Steve Bruce got really excited when he thought he heard a journalist say the word bacon. It's like a kid at Christmas, just like, bacon? What? So he's actually, I quite like him. Like, he's never going to do very much with us. We're never going to do anything under him. But you know what? We've had worse managers. It could be worse. I still don't.
Does it become like comforting, like to a point where you're just like, Steve.
He's a very endearing man,
Yeah.
He isn't. He's not a top manager, but we're Newcastle. We're not going to get a top manager. People keep linking us with various mega money bids from various despots around the world, but at the end of the day, we're a mid-table club in mid-table. I'm happy. I'm at peace with myself. I don't like to see results like at the weekend, but you know what? We'll do better at home.
Is this the start of a bit of a turnaround for Arsenal now? Because Arteta seemed to level the poor form off a little bit with just consecutive draws, didn't he, for quite a while? And now they've got this, obviously just beat Newcastle quite convincingly, and then Everton next. So this could be a bit of an upturn, couldn't it now?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because I think there's a good vibe around Arsenal at the minute.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you saw Lacazette's goal at the end, but maybe it was a bit over the top. And yeah, Roy Keane laid into them a little bit, but they were all just jumping on each other, and literally every player, including all the defenders, ran over. And apart from Leno, everyone piled on top of Lacazette.
Yeah.
And they were all just smiling, and there was a lot of love there. And
There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
No, there isn't.
Win's a win,
there isn't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was good for Lacazette as well, because obviously he was on the pitch for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
1 touch. Oh, no, 3 touches, a goal, and an assist, I think, as well, for Ozil. But yeah, he needed that. And yeah, but anyway, back to Arteta. I think something has changed quite clearly. And
they got 2 clean sheets in a row, haven't they?
I think they've been quite lucky with those draws that you mentioned. But yeah, they have got 2 clean sheets as well.
Yeah, which isn't bad for Arsenal.
Which is,
a terrible.
We're not known for clean sheets.
Yeah, your defense is notoriously leaky, let's say.
Yeah.
How are you doing in fantasy football this season? Your team all right? Mid-table
it's
mediocrity?
been unchanged for the last 3 weeks, I'll be honest.
All right.
I've lost touch with it. But I got 57 points last week.
So
Which wasn't too bad.
Better than Sam.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
He's probably ahead of you in the overall table. He's ahead of me and Dave. But this week, he didn't have a great week, to be honest. Or this 2 week, really.
So surely you guys must be closing in on him now.
I mean, contextually, not really.
No.
I mean, mathematically, yes.
Is he that far ahead?
But
chipping away a point at a time, really. But.
Yeah. He is, I think I counted it earlier, 75 points ahead of me. And then Dave is a further 38 points.
Yeah, nearly 40 points behind. So
it's a bit one-sided.
I was top scorer again this week, though.
You did. That's 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah,
you do have quite a lot of top scoring weeks.
I do, don't I? They're just not significant enough to be like to really stand a chance of catching either of you.
You came really close to closing me though by about half, because
I know
I completely forgot to do my team. For listeners here, we've already been talking about a fair bit in the office, but I didn't save my team. So Son was my second sub, and I thought for a while he wasn't going to come on, and I'd had enough of fantasy football, wanted to tip over the table and never play it ever again. But then Mason Greenwood didn't come off the bench against Chelsea, which was a miracle. And
me and Sam were there praying for him to come on at the end, like, come on, bring him on.
I know. It was like Dallo and...
who did he bring? Yeah, he brought...
And the like glass...
Dallo. God, why?
It was beautiful. I just had my live text on my phone, just like, yes. So that got me a much better score than I was expecting. 63 points I got in the end, which is... In a normal week, it would be pretty good, but, I mean, the average was quite high this week. I think it was about 56 points, so...
It is, and I was a similar position. I had so many points on the bench this week. It'd have been an amazing one for a bench boost. I ended up losing out on 9 points because I benched Decore and he scored. Lundstrom ended up coming on automatically because Tanganga didn't play. So that boost again. Lundstrom scored as well, so he boosted my team by another 7
off the
points
bench as well.
So off the bench, yeah. So I'm quite fortunate in that way because it was some poor choices, I suppose, on the selection front.
Yeah, none of us really had a glowing week, did we? I made 3 changes, so I took a -4 punt last week, and it all did not go well at all. So I brought Son in. Initially, looked great with his 13 points that miraculously I got, but now he's injured himself for like the rest of the season, or at least a month or so. So I've had to immediately transfer him out. I'll go over that later on, but it's not looking great for my team, to be honest.
No, I did feel envious though when Son was banging him in.
Yeah.
But it's a big loss to a lot of FPL managers.
Yeah.
Him going out, because a lot of people have got him in the team, and I don't think he's an easy one to replace either. He's pretty decent value.
What, in fantasy football or for Spurs?
In fantasy football, obviously for Spurs as well. Yeah. They're going to struggle without him massively because they're already missing Kane, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it was Son who seemed to be carrying the team because maybe it was more prominent because Kane wasn't there, but he was scoring pretty much every game, wasn't he, at one point?
They lost to Leipzig, wasn't it, last night?
Yeah, 1-0.
At the time of recording, and Dele Alli had that little strop when he came off as well. So all is not well. I mean, you said the you called out the Mourinho thing, didn't you, at the start?
Good guy Mourinho.
Yeah.
Change man.
It's all starting to look a bit like his time at Man United now, isn't it?
Like during the winter break, he shaved his head. You know, he's getting back to his angry mode. He's trying to be like a phoenix in the flames, but he's just making himself worse.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it. I can't lie.
It's starting to implode slightly, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm be interested how they do in that second leg. I think Mourinho could probably get something from it, but it's not looking great for them. They've not had the climb up the table they would have wanted. They're not doing terribly, but I mean they did claw a victory from the jaws of defeat against Villa in the winter break, but not all.
Chelsea and Wolves up next, so that's 2 pretty tough fixtures for them.
Yeah,
that Chelsea game is going to be difficult, isn't it? Because it's at Stamford Bridge as well.
Could decide that potentially 4th place or 5th place, with Man City being banned from the Champions League for 2 years since we last went on recording. So now it looks like, unless the ban is receded or pushed back, that 5th place could get Champions League.
God, Sheffield United could be in the Champions League.
I know. How ridiculous is that? We're going to need a Sheffield United correspondent at goal.
Yeah. They've got some really good fixtures coming up as well. I was looking before the recording. Yeah. They've actually got a pretty good run now. It'd be one of those where they'd be definitely thinking, look, we've done really well this season now. Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Because we have actually got some games now where we should be picking up some points.
What's interesting for me, so we're looking at the table here now. So Sheffield United 6th and then Manchester United in 7th. How many points are they between them?
1.
1 point between them, right? So United's run, the last sort of 8 games of the season for them, is really, really easy on paper, which usually you'd go, great, we want the easy run. But for United, they win all the tough games, like against Chelsea, getting points off Liverpool, winning games against Arsenal and such. But the actual,
Whoa, no.
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 He was quick then. He was like, right then, he hadn't tuned
No,
out.
they drew against Arsenal, and then they got beat by Arsenal 2-0. When Pepe scored, Sam.
Just testing you.
Sorry, carry on.
But, I think they will derail themselves a little bit there.
Yeah.
And there's a place there potentially for Sheffield United. Wolves are probably the other one that, could sneak in there.
Yeah.
Everton. I can't believe Everton have climbed the way there as well.
I don't imagine that'll last, but they're unbeaten in the last 5, so
Mm.
which I would not have said, if I wasn't looking at that. I had no idea Everton have almost swapped places with Palace, and Palace have just fallen down the league. They're like down in 14th now.
It's course
They
corrected
haven't
itself.
lost, so yeah, I suppose it has. So yeah, it's all up for grabs, isn't it?
Mm.
In that little area there between
Little pocket.
5th and 11th,
Yeah.
really, where Burnley are. Burnley and Arsenal on the same point, so
Mm.
it makes it. I think it makes it quite tough from a FPL point of view as well, on really who to dive in on.
Well, because the Champions League and the Europa League are back as well, and you're starting to think there might be some rotation there. Like I look at Liverpool and think if they get past Atletico in the second leg, assuming they revive themselves after losing that first leg in Madrid, then they will start to rotate because they are 22 points clear of Man City in the league, which you can rest some players now, lads. The title's in the bag. Don't say it, but the title's in the bag.
You don't want your season to end on a bit of a damp squib, though, do you? And I watched Liverpool against Norwich, and it was a bit the same against Atleti as well. They were just kind of, I don't know. It just felt like all the stuff that usually comes off for them wasn't quite coming off.
Mm.
They looked like the same team doing the same things, but the end product wasn't there.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's teams are getting a little bit wiser to it. Norwich found a way to contain them, frustrate them. Atletico Madrid kind of managed the same thing a little bit. I think Liverpool in that game again in the Champions League were genuinely just thinking at some point that we will score, but the magic didn't feel like it was there. And I don't know if that's symptomatic of the fact that they've won the league now, really.
Mm.
And the players,
It's like a mental thing.
yeah, because they don't. That fire's not there, is it?
No.
Once you know you've won it.
I think you're right where teams are definitely figuring out how they play, but I feel like they're adaptable and they can grind it out essentially.
Yeah, they do try and grind it out. They try and pass you to death, and just move it into zones constantly and quick thinking, balls around the corner and all that type of thing. And
They're an absolute machine at home though. Like the last two games have been away from home, coming off the back of a winter break. There's a bit of lost momentum there. They'll be smashing teams again in no time, I think.
I hope so, because I've got 3 Liverpool players in my FPL team.
So, sorry, how many points are they on at the minute?
They've got 76 points. So they've obviously only drawn 1 game this season and won the rest of them, which I've just never seen anything like it.
Pretty much on course to be beating the 100 points that City got last year.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
And I think that's the aim now, isn't it, for them?
Yeah,
and probably for Klopp as well.
Yeah, that, and I think he would love to do the Premier League Champions League double. That would really cement them as a classic Premier League team, wouldn't it?
Yep, definitely.
Up there with the Invincibles.
I think you've got to do both, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's the real glory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't think City will win the Champions League either, because I'm not sure I just don't think they've got the mentality for it, really. But it's Liverpool. It's one of those things, isn't it? You associate with them as a club. So I don't think it'd be off the table. I think, to be honest, I do think they'll overturn it when it comes back to Anfield anyway. The Atleti game.
Yeah, so do I. I think it'll be a really gritty, tough watch.
Yeah.
But they'll do it. They'll do it. A bit like they did against Barcelona, It won't be as emphatic, but because Atletico are a more solid team, really. But they'll smash them.
I like how Klopp was like inviting Atletico Madrid fans to come to Anfield, and he was like, "Come along, welcome to Anfield, experience it."
Strange things happen at Anfield, don't they?
Yeah, it's really like
it's kind of like a threat. It's like a threat, isn't it? Almost,
yeah,
indirect threat.
I don't blame him after that game though, because Simeone was just he just jumping up and down on the touchline, getting all the fans up and everything, and all their players were just like playing for every little foul.
He's such a shit house of a manager. I absolutely love it.
So much shit housery. It got to a level though where I just thought I can't.
Was it last season where he was grabbing his nuts?
Yeah, cojones, sort of.
Which massively backfired in the return leg. I seem to remember. Ronaldo did the same back.
Yeah.
So it could be a similar situation, couldn't it?
Yeah,
in the second leg at
so,
Anfield.
very much so.
But anyway, that's the Premier League. So Mayinul Islam remains top of the UK Fantasy Football Show League, right?
Yeah.
He has an offensively high total of 1,668 points, which blows us way out of the water. I looked actually as well on where he stands overall in the entire game of 7.4 million people. He's 67th in the world. So,
67th in the world.
Fair fucks. It's hard to really argue.
play.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, are you sure he's not a hacker?
He's hacks the future.
Yeah. he's getting points where there aren't points. You know, like this is my stepson's thing on Fortnite now. So whenever anyone headshots him or takes him straight out, and every shot they take hits him, he goes, "They're hackers, aren't they?" Like, you know, he's 9 years old. He looks at me and goes, "They're hackers, aren't they?" And why? Because every shot they took hit me. Have you ever thought they might just be really good at it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
When I used to play games all the time, I used to say lag. Oh, that's the lag.
Yeah,
so I got killed.
The lag's done me. There's been a lot of lag in my fantasy football season.
But Mayinul Islam, he captained De Bruyne. So it's hard to really argue with that sort of ballsy decision making. 28 points that De Bruyne got him. So well done, Mayinul Islam. Smashing it. Listeners, you can join our league and test yourself against us all season long in the public league. The code to type in on the FPL website is NHC4WZ. Right, let's move on then. So this week our big talking point is VAR.
Oh God.
Yeah, exactly. We first delved into this swamp of a topic back in Gameweek 7. Coincidentally, that was also the previous episode that Mo featured on, which I didn't realise when I picked the topic, but it's a nice little bit of symmetry here. Here's what we said at the time about VAR.
And people have just got to acclimatise and get used to it. I think it's not too dissimilar to the advent of cars, in that if you just ask people what they wanted, there's a legitimate thought behind this. If you just asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. But then Henry Ford's come along and went, hang on guys, I've got an idea. It's going to make life better. Just takes a little bit of getting used to.
You're comparing VAR as technology in football to an iPhone and to a car. Football's not a product. It's not a product.
Of course it's a product.
It's entertainment.
It's an entertainment product.
It's an
that's sold
art
around the world.
form. It's an art form. It's meant to be enjoyed. VAR is just sucking the enjoyment out of it.
So's the Avengers.
No, mate. No.
Some heated opinions there then. Dave, do you still feel that football isn't a product, it's an art form?
Well, art form is probably a bit dramatic. I think at that point I'd kind of like lost it, but it's I think what I was trying to get across there in the heat at the moment was that it isn't like, you can't compare it to a car and you can't compare it to, you know, an iPhone, which you want improvements from it because you want it to get better because it's there to improve your life and make things easier for you. You know, football's it is an entertainment. We're there for entertainment. We watch it on TV because it's entertaining. Does VAR improve the entertainment? I think potentially it can be part of the entertainment. I think as it is at the moment, it doesn't feel that way really. It feels disjointed, and I think VAR has stripped football of some of its rawness and some of its like organic feeling. You know, and the point I was making about the linesmen is that, and the referees, is that they are part of the human experience of the sport, aren't they? Like, you know, they are all part of it. You know, they create the talking points and everything like that. So, I think a lot of the argument still stands. For me, it still feels a little bit unnecessary because I don't think before we were in such a situation where it was just making the game horrendous. The amount of decisions that were bad were causing the game to disrupt the game. Okay. And I still feel, and I said this before as well, the referees and the linesmen, the assistant referees, there's enough of them now, they're not going to get any better for technology. They are just going to become stewards to the technology. They might as well don a Visi vest and essentially just be tapping a button, because they're just going to be stood there going, actually, I'm not going to make a decision. I'm just going to let technology decide, because technology is always right, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is. So,
well, yeah, the way that we're judging things with VAR calls now is all based on the technology. There's no, there's a grey area, so you decide referee, which is what some people have pushed for. Like when it's a 50-50, go with a ref's decision. If there's a little bit of a foot offside or whatever, then
Well,
that's
it's VAR, so it's decided by officials sat in a studio, isn't it? It's still a human decision, but it just seems to take so bloody long, you know. And they even still get it wrong, which is really annoying.
But the thing is,
because that's not why it was designed.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we picked this topic is because of the disallowed goal from Chelsea. One of the disallowed goals from Chelsea against Manchester United, where it was Azpilicueta that was deemed to have pushed Brandon Williams, wasn't it?
Oh, it was so soft.
And he was pushed in the back, which led him to push the Man United player in the back. Like it was the domino effect, and the fact that it wasn't picked up on VAR was probably one of the most damning indictments of it so far for me, because it was quite clear that it was a push. I mean, the second call, which obviously led to a mass walkout of Chelsea fans towards the end, who were 2-0 down at that point anyway, when Giroud was offside. Like, you can understand that. I mean, it's frustrating, but technically there's nothing wrong with that decision.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's always going to be a difficult one, that.
But this is my point, right? The push on Brandon Williams was exactly it. They were looking at the screen thinking, technology isn't going to make this decision for me. It's going to be common sense, and we've lost all ability to make any common sense decisions now. Because it's easy with the offside, because there's a line drawn there, and they go, oh yeah, Giroud's big size 12's offside. But then when they've actually got to make a decision based on like a bit of common sense, and oh, hang on, he's pushed him into him and he's fallen over, they go, no goal, because he looks like he pushes him. They're kind of like, they're losing the ability to think for themselves, because I mean, that technology is doing that, isn't it, to us anyway. You know, it's like, because we're so reliant on
Automation.
It's so easy to find stuff now, isn't it? And this is a little bit my fear with football, is that it just kind of, it comes in and it essentially just takes over the game too much, because it's starting at this level, but then it will just kind of be almost every part of it.
Well, it's interesting to see how it pans out, because ultimately a big push behind this is money, and it's always going to be the big push behind it in football. Everything is about money. And if people stop watching football because of VAR, and the advertisers stop getting revenue from that, then they would probably waver in their decision. It's just if enough people actually flock away from it, or if it's just a little bit of a fit and people actually just keep watching, you know.
Yeah, I think people just get used to it. I just don't think it will be as raw as it used to be. And that's not me going, oh, like I enjoyed football when I used to play on like cabbage patches and stuff, and it you know, it was a proper game. I don't think it was. I actually think the last few seasons of football, when I've watched it, you watch it, the conditions the players play in now, you watch it, the fitness of the players, the technical ability, it's the best it's ever been. Football is the best it's ever been. So for me, I feel a bit like VAR's coming along, and it's like, it's kind of ruined it a little bit, because it has stripped it a little bit of that kind of like a rawness that you get with human decisions.
I'm still on the side, tentatively, of VAR, because and I said this on the show before, I think it's a bit of a short-term pain, long-term gain situation. You need this process to figure out what exactly is going to work with VAR. Like, you can't really test it behind the scenes in anger. You know, you need to test it. Unfortunately, you need to test it in real life. And clearly the test this season has had some flaws. And I think it's whether they kind of put their fingers in their ears and go, oh, it's fine, we're not going to worry about this. Or if they actually try and be like, you know, putting TVs in stadiums. Mo mentioned before about potentially, you know, having the referee's voice being
that'd be great.
Echoed out. I think the potential side effect of that is if the microphone has the people around the referee.
Yeah.
But they just give the ref so much abuse.
Well, I mean, it happens in rugby,
but it doesn't happen as much.
How aggressive are rugby players? And you can hear.
But rugby players aren't vile like footballers.
Towards the ref, they're actually all right.
Yeah,
aren't they? Like they save their anger for smacking each other.
It could be a good thing actually if the ref was mic'd, because really, like, you watch the abuse that the referees get off players.
They might pipe down.
You know, you don't have to be a lip reader to see some of the words they say.
Completely.
And it'd be like
immediately shameful.
But I'm still quite mixed when it comes to VAR.
Yeah,
because some decisions they're right, but they don't seem to be using it consistently and properly. I'll give you an example. Right, there was, maybe because it's Arsenal, I remember it more, but I remember specifically at one moment where Aubameyang was played on by Ozil, and it was clearly onside by 2 feet when they reviewed it, but the linesman put their flag. I think it was the lineswoman actually. Sorry, she put her flag up instantly, and the ref just blew straight away. They didn't review it, no VAR review, and upon the review in the studio, Gary Neville was sat there watching it, and he was like, "Oh, it was onside." And if if the ref just continued play, Aubameyang would have been through. Not many people can catch him. He'd have probably scored. It's like
you're never going to eliminate.
You've got to use it properly. If you're going to use it, then you've got to use it properly.
You're never going to eliminate human error.
But why did the play not continue?
Well, it should have done, but she made a mistake in that situation. I think you're always going to get referees making mistakes.
That's where I'm confused. Even if the linesman goes like this, is it not the ref decision to say we should continue play anyway?
Well, then what would be the point of linesman? Literally,
what's the point of VAR in that then?
Well, ideally, the refs get to the point where they are trained properly not to raise the flag in that situation. One of the difficulties you're going to get if VAR stays is that referees will come up through the league system where every decision they make matters. Every time they put the flag up, that is the final call. To moving into the Premier League where actually you have an ambiguity of about a yard or 2 yards where you maybe just leave your flag down. That's actually really hard to adjust. If you're instinctively doing this for all your 20 years or whatever, and then suddenly you're told not to do that, it'd be quite hard, I imagine.
Well, I suppose that's also where the linesmen and women and the refs become dependent on VAR a bit too much.
Yeah.
And then they start to lose their skills of refereeing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still quite mixed about it.
You can't actually... It's such
it is frustrating when I'm watching a game and I know something's onside and it's been flagged off and I know there's VAR as well. It's like, what the fuck are you doing with it? Sorry. Oh, we should beep that out, actually. It's a bit heavy.
Don't make it too
going out with
if you're not editing this, then I don't want to have to be going through it finding the swears.
No, but if they're watching the VAR in the studio, then why are they not reviewing it at the actual game as well? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Neville was sat watching the VAR review, and that was well after play had finished.
Get G-Nev in the...
This actually happened as well. I'm not making this up, by the way.
He doesn't like the idea either that you have like a buffer period on a buffer zone on the offsides. He was quite angry about that, was Gary Neville, saying that people had suggested that as an option. Do you have any thoughts on that? Or is it just again, just the lines drawn straight? I
don't know. That. Like, I don't...
There's no like, genuinely in football, it's such a good feeling when your team scores a goal that's offside. You know, like, if you watch it on a replay and you're a bit like, it was offside and we actually scored. Because you get a few against you, don't you? And it's like,
I think it
every now and again,
out.
it's quite a nice feeling just to get that. It's like a bit of luck, isn't it? You know, when you get a bit of luck and you go, that was lucky.
I enjoyed that, yeah.
And it's quite a nice feeling.
It's like getting away with it.
Going to miss those, like, little moments where you got away with it, or a player just handballed it a little bit.
I'd have had that this weekend with Maguire. Kicked him in the nuts. Got away with that one, lads.
Although watching
that... Did it get reviewed?
Yeah, but they didn't do anything, did they?
Yeah.
So again,
and it looked worse on the replays, I think.
Yeah, I think in real time it looked worse than it was, but when you watch it back in slow motion, it just seems like he's caressed his genitals with his boot.
If you watch it in slow motion, it's a caress.
Yeah, and you can see that Batshuayi kind of moved into it. Like,
so this is all his fault.
Yeah, he could have jumped out of the way.
Maybe that was in the referee's notes.
But he wanted to
enjoyed
make a meal out of it.
They were reviewing it and they went, hang on, it looks like he's enjoying that.
He was asking for it.
And then obviously Lampard and his coaching staff behind just obviously made it seem a lot worse than it was.
Yeah.
It was funny.
There was actually a couple of players caressing Maguire's head as well, as it went towards...
Yeah, I didn't see that until you mentioned it.
So if you took it all into super slow motion, it could all look a bit
romantic.
Yeah.
Wow, that went off on a tangent, didn't
it?
So, right, let's.
But yeah, what did you guys think to that? Did you think he should have been red carded, or was he on a yellow at that point?
I don't think he should have been red carded. But I think one of my things as well, right, is football fans are a really angry bunch of people. Really angry, very emotional, let's say, if I'm going to be kind. Very emotional group of people. Like, whenever you make a change to what they're used to, they're like, oh, I don't like this. And that's why I always push back a little bit against the instinct to be like, VR's crap, just get rid of it. Because people are going to struggle a little bit with the initial process, especially if you're a team that is constantly suffering from the decisions, which is understandable to be aggrieved with it. But there are clearly some big problems with how it's implemented. I think still it's worth pushing on with and trying to make it work.
Yeah, I think it will anyway. I don't think it's an option going back anyway now. I think it's just you've got to accept it.
The genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah, it is.
They just need to learn how to use it properly and be very clear about what they're using it on. In terms of like the offside thing I was mentioning earlier.
Train refs a bit more and make sure they're a little bit briefed, I guess. So you keep it around then. Just tighten up the rules a bit?
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards keeping it. I'd say 70-30% at the moment.
You just got to think about how it kind of works in with the entertainment value of the game, and try not to lose any of that. The decisions need to be as instant as possible, and the flow of the match doesn't need to be disrupted. Maybe they could get a little organ player in every game, and then when the VAR decision comes on, or some kind of like troop come out and start doing a bit of entertainment,
cheerleaders or something.
Go full American, basically. Just embrace it.
I mean, that's kind of what it is, isn't it? It's and this VAR is sponsored by.
Amazing. There's the future.
But yeah, I think it's here to stay, as you say. So I guess we'll have to deal with it and
just suck it up.
Yeah. I think football's too big for anyone to protest against VAR. I think
that's the thing.
There are worse problems in football right now. Aren't
you
there?
Just have to go watch non-league or something if you want a bit of the old school experience,
the nitty gritty.
Yeah, bit of emotion.
Right then, leaving behind our VAR chat, let's have a look specifically at Game Week 27. So before we run through mine and Dave's changes, Mo will be revealing his 1 week wonder team. He has to pick a team to get as many points as possible from this one game week. Last week, our Chelsea correspondent, Naz Kinsella, bagged a very handy 67 points, helped by captaining Kevin De Bruyne, which is a good call. Our overall high score, though, remains from our Liverpool correspondent, Neil Jones, who smashed it with 77 points a few weeks ago. What team have you put together, Mo?
Can I just ask, the first time I was on the show, how many points did I get?
I wrote that down here because I thought you might ask. Okay. 53 points.
And whereabouts in the table is that between the guests?
You are relatively high up the table. I think you are around 10th.
Good.
Let me just double check.
All right.
Yeah, 9th. You're joint 9th.
Right. That's good. It's good to know. So my team, I'll start with the goalkeeper, unlike Paul Raymond. I went with Dean Henderson from Sheffield United. He's in really good form at the minute. 7.7 on FPL.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. And he cost me 5.1. And my left back, I've gone for Bellerin, who's obviously back from injury. And
bit of a fantasy football classic.
Yeah, I think he'll get some good game time now, and he'll do really well.
Yeah.
I've gone for Jack Stevens.
An unorthodox pick.
Yeah.
You look a little bit doubtful about it.
Well, I am a bit doubtful about my whole defence, actually.
All right, okay. You splashed the cash further up the field.
Yeah. So I feel a bit shaky at the back.
Who's your third defender?
But that's, I think that's with my connection to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Like, that goes hand in hand. So, who Southampton got, actually? Oh, yeah, Aston Villa. That's why I chose him. I thought it could be either a clean sheet or a draw.
Yeah.
Then I have Jack O'Connell. I'm sure a lot of people have got him for 4.7 million. And I've got Joel Ward from Crystal Palace.
So these just
another cheap one.
Is he a sub?
No, these are actually on the field.
Wow.
Then in the middle I've got Adama.
Oh yeah,
good old Adama.
Playing Norwich this weekend, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I've got Nicola Pepe.
Okay.
For 9.1. Yeah.
Do you not like him? Yeah.
Do you not like him?
Well, I said at the start of the season, that's unfair because at the start of the season, none of us had a clue how he was going to be. But I think he's disappointed for a while, hasn't he? But he did look. He looked quite good against. He looked quite good against Newcastle. So
it's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Arsenal got Everton this weekend, so that's
Yeah, I think under Arteta and his new system, and the general love around the club at the moment, I think he'll come into his own.
I think at Arsenal it's a hard one at home. So for them to win against Newcastle at home was quite something, because I think there's a lot of pressure on them at home, isn't there, from the supporters?
Yeah.
They really expect big
definitely.
things from that team.
Yeah.
There. So.
Well, they pay a lot of money to go and watch Arsenal.
That's partly why. Yeah. That's partly why.
I mean, I don't personally go, but I can feel their pain
over the interwebs.
Yeah. I mean, I bought the Arsenal shirt, so I think that counts. I've spent some money on the merchandise.
Football's like that, isn't it? Every investment is literally like adds to that pain when they're doing badly,
Of course, yeah.
Who else is in your midfield?
And I've got Salah.
Is that a 3-man midfield I sense, or you got another one? You felt like
I'm yet to decide, actually.
Well, let's make that decision.
Okay. I'm going to go with a 4-man midfield. I'll go for Jack Grealish. Yeah.
Okay. And who is your 2 strikers?
I've got Lacazette and Aguero. Right?
Power front 2. And your subs?
Mm-hmm.
Who are your subs?
My subs, I've got Adrian, Liverpool's second keeper.
All right.
I've got Charlie Taylor.
Your extra midfielder is?
Zaha.
Bit of flair on that bench.
And my front is Martinelli, Gabriel Martinelli from Arsenal.
Ooh.
Lots of Arsenal players in there.
Yeah.
I don't know how you managed to get 4
maximum.
Arsenal players in there. I mean, that is breaking the rules, but we'll let you off.
How is that even possible? How does it let me do that? Okay.
It can't have. It can't, well, I mean,
You haven't saved your team.
Oh,
I'm guessing.
right.
Unless
Yeah,
you're one
I
of
can
the-
see at the top, yeah.
You know what? It's your last day, man. We'll let you off. It's
yeah,
fine.
you can have it.
Yeah,
Really?
He's on your bench anyway.
Really?
It's
Are you
fine,
going
yeah.
to count the points as well?
No, he's on your bench, so he's not. I'm going to count him as your 3rd sub, so he's not coming on unless.
Okay.
literally all your
Well,
players don't play.
shall I just swap him now?
You do whatever you like, mate. You can.
Okay.
I've got it down here as Martin.
Doesn't matter. Once you've gone, we'll
Yeah.
just say, nah, I didn't get any points.
Okay.
Or
Appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Who's going to be your captain, Mo?
I'm going to captain Salah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to captain Pepe, but it's a risky one, and I know I'd get some stick even after I'm gone if he doesn't do well.
Post-exit stick, yeah.
Yeah.
Salah, no, it's a safe call.
And I think I will vice captain Aguero.
Another
Safe
sensible
call.
decision.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see Salah not starting though, so I think you'll be all right.
Mm.
Well, best of luck with that team. We'll take a look next week how you've done.
Thank
you won't
you.
be here, but we'll take a look anyway. Dave, how is your team looking? Have you made any transfers?
I haven't confirmed them yet, but the 2 transfers I'm looking at with my 1 free transfer, so I will decide on one or the other, or maybe take a hit. I don't know. I don't think I'll take a hit, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Vardy has been very disappointing
Is he going to leave?
of late. So, when did he last score? Was it against Man City in Gameweek 18?
Oh my God.
So it has been a barren run and a painful one for me
can't
and
believe you
everyone
stuck
on
with him,
FPL. So I have stuck with him because every week you're like, oh, he'll score, he'll come around, but he hasn't. And they've got Man City this week as well, haven't they? So it can't see it. I mean, Man City's defense isn't great, but Laporte's back now, isn't he?
Yeah.
It looks slightly stronger. So I'm thinking Vardy out, maybe Jimenez in. I know he's a bit of an FPL favourite. I don't think I've ever had him, actually. You had him for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I had him loads last season when he was a little pocket rocket. But they got Norwich at home. That's a decent fixture as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's part of the reason I was looking at him, really. The other person I'm looking to kind of axe out the team is Gator, who obviously Palace are on the decline. And it would be quite nice to get Sheffield United's Henderson in there. They've got quite a decent run now.
I wouldn't normally do this because you are a rival,
Okay.
but I'm doing this for our listeners in case they were thinking about
Okay.
doing some changes. But
I appreciate this, by the way, already.
but next week, Sheffield United don't have a game because of
okay.
I'm pretty sure, I don't have my internet connection right now, but I'm pretty sure them, Aston Villa, Man City and Arsenal, because the Carabao Cup is next Sunday. So it leaves a bit of a... So if you click next...
So this is the week after, yeah?
Yeah,
Game
yeah.
week 28.
I can't see Sheffield United there. They're not there, are they?
They aren't.
No. So
No.
hold fire on that little Henderson pick. But that's what's
So
screwing
who's
me up.
missing? Sheffield United.
Aston Villa, because they're in the final. And then
Yeah.
Man City, because they're in the final. And Arsenal, who are meant to play against City.
Okay.
So there's going to be a
It's
bit
a
of
good
a...
tip, that, actually, isn't it,
Yeah,
for
I know.
anyone on FPL?
So we're not all used.
We provide a service.
We do, yeah. Right at the end of the
They're
episode.
going to have to find that, though.
in amongst the VAR.
Yeah. They're tuned out at that point.
Yeah.
If you're still with us, see,
There
told
you go.
Well worth it, wasn't it, listening to this point?
But that's what I've got that on my mind when I was doing my transfers. I wanted to toss out one of those players from one of those teams, but because Son's got himself injured and he's a premium player, I kind of need to do something about it. So Lucas Moura has come in simply because Spurs kind of have to start him in the absence of literally anybody else.
But why Spurs? Why stick with a Spurs player?
Because I wanted to put an Arsenal or a Man City player in, but then I actually thought about Grealish, but again, Aston Villa. So I can't do anything. I hate my team. I honestly really hate it. And I thought about, put Martial in. But literally every time I put Martial in my team, he doesn't score. Take him out like I did this weekend, scores again. Hate him.
It's just so Man United, that, isn't it? That's just what they're like at the moment. Just really frustrating. It must be horrible supporting them.
So yeah, that's probably the one sub I'm going to make. I don't really want to make another -4 hit because at this point I'll just be making it every single week.
Isn't Marcus Rashford out for the rest of the season?
Allegedly.
So
Allegedly, yeah.
A lot of the weight is on Martial, isn't it? Really?
The weight is there, but again, because they have that run of games against teams who aren't of elite pedigree, I would say that he might not necessarily shine.
Yeah, they never seem to do well, do they, against those sides?
No, not in the Solskjaer.
They seem to struggle a little bit against them.
Yeah. Things to consider. So at the moment, that's my only transfer. We'll see how it pans out. But let's wrap this up. Dave, Mo, thank you very much for joining us today. And Mo, thank you again for all your podcast production wizardry this season.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Mo.
I'll keep listening.
Good. Listeners, you can get in touch by tweeting your fancy football thoughts with the hashtag UKFFS. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, or however you listen to podcasts on your favourite platform. Leave a review if you liked it, and if you didn't, what are you still doing here? Check out Goal for your daily dose of football news from the Premier League and around the world. Thanks for listening.